doing there is call and response. It's a very, very simple song form. It's used all over the world. If you walk into a village in Zimbabwe, maybe they only speak Shona, but if you go into the center of the village and you do, yeah-yo, you'll hear back from the whole village, yeah-yo. Hey, you know, white guy's here and he's doing music and he's got a flute. That's fantastic. But they all get this call and response. It's a world music form that works beautifully, and you can do it in duet forms. It's great in your flute circle to just do call and everybody responds if they have the same key flute. Works really beautifully. We're going to use it. In a way that Vera and I have been facilitating. I've got the drum beat in my ear here, that's why I have this. In the way that Vera and I have been facilitating an activity for the last year at workshops, and it works really, really well with people to learn how to repeat your own phrases. So we'll start with call and response. I'll do the call, you'll do the response on your flute, and then we'll work it into your playing a phrase and responding to your own phrase. And it's a memory device. Once we learn how to repeat our own phrases, repetition is a very key form in music. It's a key element because it brings solidity. When people hear a melody repeated, a short phrase or two phrases, if they're repeated, it gives solidity and structure to songs. And a lot of players say to us, we want to add structure to our songs. It's great if we have the wandering melody, that's certainly a style. However, if you want to add structure to your song, the first step is learn how to repeat what you've played. Learn how to repeat a phrase that you've improvised. So let's get started. Here's the way this works. I'm starting on an F-sharp minor flute. I'll put the drum back in my ear so I can hear it. You should be able to hear the drum now. And we're going to be playing short phrases. I'm going to use 4 beats of the drum beat. And I'm just going to play a phrase, and the game is grab an F-sharp minor flute. And don't worry, we're doing this in G and A. Okay, so you can skip forward in the video to a G minor flute and an A minor flute. And we'll do the same thing in F sharp starting, and then G and A. And I will call an improvised phrase, a very simple phrase. I'm only actually going to use the bottom notes. So it's going to be very simple. And your job is to call it back to me right afterwards. So I'll do 4 beats, and then you do 4 beats, and we'll do this virtual duet back and forth. Call and response. And so I'll start with... Your turn. Here's another. Your turn. Okay, you have some practice with that. Now, those were all what we call questions. Those were all rising phrases, and they sound like a question. If you ask a question in most languages, it will go up at the end, and the answer will start and come down. So we'll do some descending phrases. Just on the bottom, and we'll do a couple of those. Here we go. And now we're going to double the length of the phrase. And we're going to do it by asking a question and providing an answer. I'm going to tack a question and answer together. It'll be an 8-beat phrase. So it's a little bit longer to remember. Do the best you can. Give it a go. Here we go. That's the idea. So now the game is try your own 4-beat phrase. Just start with 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, and answer it. Try another one. Answer it. Now, if you've been using rising phrases for those, try descending phrases from the top to the bottom. Answers. Do a couple of those. Here we go. And do the same thing. One more time. And now. There it is. Can you do an 8-beat phrase? Something that sounds like a rising and a falling for 4 beats. A question and an answer. Give it a try. It's in 8 beats, and I'll count the 8 beats. Here we go. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I hope that's working for you. If not, you can go off and do it by yourself, or just rewind the video and come back to the drum beats. In terms of working with a flute circle, if you're leading this activity, we often put people in rows and have them go back and forth and copy each other's phrase. And one person is the beat keeper. Often Vera is the beat keeper at the end of the line, and we line people up and we have them go back and forth. And then, of course, we switch sides. One side is copying what the other side has just played. And we do exactly this role of back and forth. One person plays and the other person copies. And of course, it helps where the 2 people have the same key flute. That really does help. We are now going to move on to the G minor flute. So if you're skipping forward, welcome to the G minor section, and we're going to repeat what we did with the F sharp minor. Very simply, I'm going to play in 4 beats a phrase, and you're going to repeat it. So here we go. I'm going to do it again and again a couple of times, and I'm going to only play on the bottom side. You have a real advantage because you can look at my fingers, right? Here we go. Your turn. Okay, now those were questions, those were rising phrases. Of course, in every language, a question is a rising phrase, tends to rise at the end, and an answer tends to be a falling pitch, right? So those were questions. Now we're going to do a few answers. I'm going to do a descending phrase, just on the bottom. Here we go. Call and response. I'll do it, and you respond in the spaces. Here we go. And now we're going to put the 2 together and double the length of the phrase. I'm going to do a phrase in 8 beats, and you're going to respond in the intervening 8 beats. Here we go. One more. Okay, that's the idea. If you saw the F sharp section, we ended with a little description of where we're going with this. It is great to be able to remember your own phrases because that gives you structure, the ability to structure your songs so that there is some repetition. You have an improvised phrase. All of these phrases, of course, were improvised. You have an improvised phrase, but you're able to remember it. What you can do in a breath, if you can remember, you can then repeat it and give solidity to your songs. Many of the songs we have in our culture have repetition. That repetition gives the listener something to hang on to, something familiar to come back to. And we're going to use that in the next video, AABA, to structure our songs in an AABA type of song structure. And that's the song structure you're going to hear in a lot of verses and a lot of choruses. So now we are going to move on to the A minor flutes, and we're going to do exactly what we did with the F sharp minor and the G minor flutes. And we're going to give an opportunity. That's a reason to buy more flutes, right? You can do it in F sharp and G and A. Okay, here we go. First thing we're going to do is 4 beats, and I'm going to do a rising phrase, a question kind of a phrase. Rising phrases we think of as questions, and descending phrases we think of as answers. I'm going to do it in 4 beats, and you'll have the opportunity in the intervening to immediately come in and try to repeat what I just did. Here we go. Okay, now those were questions, those were rising phrases. Now we're going to do descending phrases, the answers. I'm going to do them in 4 beats. Here it goes. More. And now we put the 2 together and we're going to do an 8. I'm going to play an 8-beat phrase, a rising 4 beats question and a descending 4 beats answer. You're going to get 8 beats to try to copy what I just did. Here we go. one more. Now you give it a go. Play a four-beat phrase, and then respond with a four-beat phrase. Respond. 2, 3. Now try an 8-beat phrase. I'll count it as you go. We'll do the call in 8 beats and the response in 8 beats. Here you go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Answer. 5, 6, 7, 8. Response. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's the idea. If you're leading this at a workshop, we talked about having the 2 lines of players, and one person does the call and one person does the response, and you're in the same key flute. That's cool. One more thing you can do is you can actually have them turn their chairs around back to back in this activity and try to do it by just listening to it. It is certainly more challenging. It is a great ear development exercise, and it's a great deep listening exercise, and we really have a lot of fun with that. It's a challenge, but people do enjoy that. People have fun. So next time we're going to put this to use. Next month you're going to see a video how we can use these phrases to make a very common song structure, AABA. So until then, flute on.